What is going on, guys and girls, and welcome to a game which is absolutely amazing on Pokemon Trading Card Game Online. I captured this footage at random because I was going to do another gameplay kind of video behind it, but this itself to me had to have its own video just because of how epic this video turned out to be, and you just need to see this for yourself, guys, because I'm using here the Beedrill deck, and it's been quite a successful deck for me, but a lot more successful than I actually imagined that it would be. And I started off with a combi straight away, which I was quite fortunate for, but at the same time, I thought I could have done with something a bit better as well with having the disadvantage. I'm not sure how I had the disadvantage, but apparently I had the disadvantage when it came to the starting game. So I was lucky enough to start off and be able to pull some energy straight off the bat and to the battle compressors. So that was really handy because with having combi straight there, trying to hopefully pull out a Vespiquen very soon, then battle compressors were going to come into play very quickly. And I knew that I needed to take out these Pokemon as soon as possible because he was playing the fairy deck. And you obviously know a lot of times with the fairy deck, that includes your Xerneas, that includes your Aromatisse, and that includes your other kind of fairies, which with the right kind of setup with a fairy deck can be just absolutely constant with the energy switches and constant with the switches in and out. So like I said, guys, once we started off, we had combi here, and luckily we were able to start off first as well, so that gave us the advantage. And they pulled out Flabébé and they pulled out Xerneas straight away, but not much is happening straight away. And I was so fortunate enough to pull out Vespiquen straight away, and I knew as soon as I did that I was going to fill it up with energy straight away and then start applying the battle compressors and try and just remove something that I knew that I had quite a few duplicates of in my deck and make sure that it weren't going to affect my gameplay with a little too much, because I didn't want to make it too hard to not be able to pull other cards, because obviously with having a EX on the deck, so EX on the play field as well, I didn't want it to be a situation of not having a backup. And I know Beautifly is such a great backup. That is the reason why I've got Beautifly, because it's basically an EX killer in my opinion, and it's really good. But that straight away just took out that card. That's why I love Vespiquen so much. You know, I didn't use this card before and I thought it was not up to much, but I've seen a couple of decks made with it beforehand, but not many, not at all many. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try, because I see so many other decks based around a kind of move, like Night March, for example. Very common deck. And I thought, I'm going to try it against the, I believe it's Be Revenge. And it's proven to be very successful up to now, you know. I've come up against some very hard decks, and some of the decks have been like exactly like this are, very EX heavy and had their backups. And I feel like the combination of Beautifly and Vespiquen is just so good for Vespiquen being your heavy damage hitter once you've knocked out enough Pokemon to your discard pile, as well as Beautifly then being able to go up against your EXs, because even though it's not got a huge amount of HP, once you can go and get yourself one of those new cards on it, the like the Fighting Fury belts, I believe it is, something like that, you can go and have your 40 HP and do the 10 plus damage. Although I'm not sure if there's a glitch in the system at the moment, or if it's just me if I'm not surfacing over something properly, because every time I keep looking and applying these cards to Pokemon, it doesn't always seem to do the extra 10 HP which it says it's going to do, but it seems to add the 40 HP health. So I can't really complain, but I'd like it to play to its full advantage and be able to do, for example, when I pull out a Beautifly, I do that in 90 HP instead, because there's been times where it's actually screwed me over not doing that extra damage. But like I said, guys, he's just pulled out another EX, the Sylveon EX. This is the one out of the new generations and Radiant Collections. Such a nice card, like so nice. But I've just got my Acrobite, and I thought I'd pull out the Sceptile instead. Even though I could have pulled out Silcoon, but I thought at this moment in time, I feel Sceptile's going to be a much better advantage for me. And I managed to take out Xerneas then again with the next hit. And we've already drawn 2 cards. We're already down to 3 cards, guys. And I was lucky enough to go and pull another energy. And the Ultra Ball wasn't something that I could have done with something a bit better at that time. Maybe I could have pulled out the Wurmple or something, but it kind of came into play later on, as you will see. But that thing did some super damage to me and pretty much knocked out my Vespiquen straight away. But I can't really do anything about that, because that Sylveon is a very hard hitter for the kind of Pokemon it is. And it's a real good card because it can heal. the bench Pokemon as well once it does the move, and obviously it's doing the 120 because he's got Muscle Band on as well. So I thought I'd play out Trevenant just to be able to take the hits. I know that at this moment in time, Trevenant weren't going to be able to do much, so I thought I'd start charging up the Sceptile because I knew that by the time I'd have charged up the Trevenant, it would be pretty much no good. So I just used it as a support at this moment in time and just do the 20 damage here and there just to be able to, you know, try and chip away to Sylveon a little bit. But we carry on playing, guys, and I'm debating what my options are going to be at the moment because I did manage to pull the Wurmple, but obviously I haven't got a Silcoon to kind of lead that up to, so this is maybe where the area of the Ultra Ball came into play as well, but he was not having any trouble pulling the energies as well, and I've had a couple of games where people seem to be struggling to pull energies, which I felt lucky on as well, especially having type disadvantage, as you may see in one of my other videos, and believe here, yep, play Misty's Determination. You can discard one card with Misty's Determination, and then you can look at the top 8 cards of your deck. And I was debating what to pull at first, because I was actually looking for the Silcoon, and then I realised that I've actually got the Evo Soda. So I ended up pulling that out just because I could obviously evolve into the Silcoon, and then I've got Beautifly in the deck, as long as he wasn't going to send something out which was going to mess my deck up, like a discard thing or a shuffle card. So I managed to evolve into a Silcoon, and I know with having Sylveon EX, my best option would be to try and start charging this Beautifly as quickly as possible and just keep chipping away with Trevenant. And obviously he's going to take the damage and die with the next hit as long as nothing changed on the playing field. But I managed to do 40 HP, and I know it's not much, but again, it's knocked him down to, I believe it's 130 HP, and he was just going to play to more basic cards out here. But this is the point where I realised that I made such a good decision with what I did. He played 2 more EXs, and I don't think a lot of people realise as well when you're playing the Silcoon and Beautifly actually what the Beautifly's effects are, because it seems to be a card that I don't see personally get played very often, and I think it's very underrated because it's such a good card. And I think cards like the Suicunes and such like that, the ones that can stop attacks from basic Pokemon or EXs and stuff, like the Pyro. That Pyro is really good from the Flash Fire, and I think it's just something that gets overshadowed a little too much. But I knew that even though I didn't have the energies on Beautifly at this moment in time, he wasn't going to take damage. So this is the point where I play the Professor Sycamore. I have then another card in my discard pile, and I've always got the chance to be able to pull out another Vespiquen and charge up that combi, but I realised that I obviously needed 3 for that time. But the perfect thing as well with Beautifly is that it has no retreat cost. So even if you're getting screwed on the playing field and somebody pulls out a card, for example, the Aromatisse, able to switch out for that Aromatisse, and then I can pull in Beautifly and easily just swap and then bring Beautifly back out as well. Obviously, there's going to be a retreat cost for the other Pokemon, but I believe the retreat cost... In fact, I'm not sure if Vespiquen's got a retreat cost again. You'll be able to see in the video, guys. I can't remember offhand by just looking at this gameplay, because obviously there's not a Vespiquen on field, and I'm probably going to forget when it comes up to it. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's 1 or if it's 0 for retreat cost for Vespiquen. But obviously Beautify and Sceptile's only got 1 retreat cost as well. I think the only heavy retreat cost I've got Pokemon in this deck is Trevenant EX. So it's not too bad if Sceptile's quite screwed as well. He only takes the 1 HP, the 1 leaf, and he only takes 2 energies as well to actually charge him up fully. So Sceptile's quite a good backup on this, because he's not something that takes a lot of charge. It plays a little bit of luck into this kind of game, because he doesn't do much damage with his second attack unless he has a special status onto him. For example, he's poisoned or sends him asleep, and that's what I'm on about. The Fighting Fury Belt. He doesn't seem to do that extra 10 HP sometimes, but he seems to add the 40 HP on, which is good. So this is the point where I fully charged up Beautifly, and I wanted to switch out. And this is the exact reason as to why I wanted to switch out to the Aromatisse, because I was hoping that it was going to do the 90 HP instead, but it didn't. It ended up doing the 80 HP, which wasn't the end of the world, but hey, I could have had this game probably under wraps a lot quicker. And to be quite honest with you, having that Aromatisse on the playing field was quite a danger to me for the energy swaps, and I didn't want that to play into his hand too much, and that kind of helped him out as well, being able to use the Healing Lady. And obviously he's got the Sylveon in his deck as well, so he's got potential to be able to heal any of the Pokemon on his deck which have taken damage. So don't get me wrong, this is a really good hand, and I'm very surprised on the outcome, very surprised, but It's the part where he's deciding to switch out. There he switched out, but I made him use 2 energies, which was a good point. So I'm glad I managed to be able to make him do that, because that probably put him on hold a little bit. But this is his energy swapping to everything, to his Sylveon EX. And I think, like I said, this is the part where maybe he's not realised what he's got himself into, and that he can't do damage to me, but he's going to do it just to be able to heal his Aromatisse back to full health. And this is the point where it switches back, and I start charging up my Sceptile a little bit more, and just pull out the rest of the energies that I have. I didn't have many energies left, so I had to be careful the way that I was going to play this. I didn't know if to play Virizion or not, so that's why I kept him on my bench, because I didn't want to just play him for the sake of it. But it's not just that. Virizion had no real good input for me at the moment, because I'd taken more cards at the time, and now we're drawing as well, so he'd only be doing the 40 HP as well. So Sylveon's obviously got 120 HP on him at this moment in time, taking damage wise. It's only 15 needs to be removed from him. So there's not much left on this Sylveon, but like I said, it's a pretty decent one. But this ends up using the Pokemon Healing Lady again. Managed to pull 2 of them, which was quite fortunate on his behalf, but I can't really complain because I've got 2 in the wings for me as well. And like I said, I was pretty lucky as well that I didn't ever have any cards to mess with my deck, because there's a few times where I felt that I could have done with a deck swap, and sometimes where, for example, now I feel like I had a good layout and I didn't want it to change up too much, so I'm not sure exactly what he was trying to do here, to be honest. I don't know if he was trying to swap energies or something, but he did the 60 HP damage to me with Beautifly, or 2 Beautifly should I say, and I decided to do the healing because why not, you know, and did the 80 HP again, just to do the damage, you know. I wanted to make sure that he's taking the damage, and potentially if he needs to swap out again, he's gonna have to retreat again. So I thought I'd just keep chipping away at him and make sure that I weren't leaving him in a position where he was going to be too dominant. But then he pulls out Xerneas as well, and this was a real threat to me at the time. I honestly thought this was going to be the card which was going to change the game, because obviously it does the hit 100 HP damage to me, and it's a good job I managed to have the healing for the Beautifly beforehand, because otherwise that would have been Beautifly gone, and that would have been such a game killer for me, because then I would have had nothing as a good backup to be able to take on the rest of the EXs, because like I said, he had quite an EX heavy deck in comparison to what he had normal types and such. But this is where he does the 100 HP, and again he had to remove another energy. So to be able to do these damage and such like that, he's actually removing these energies, which I was trying to do as much as possible. But this is a part where I thought, you know what, I'm going to start charging up this Vespiquen, because the Vespiquen, I had quite a few Pokemon in my discard pile now, so this Vespiquen should be doing a lot more damage, and I decided to, at this point, retreat my Beautifly. Obviously, having no retreat cost, as I've just said, and try poisoning it, and this, to me, was the game changer, because that Xerneas could have seriously done some damage to me, but on my behalf, I was so lucky to keep that Xerneas asleep and keep it poisoned, and luckily, he'd used his 2 Pokemon, let's say, Center Ladies, because I'm presuming he didn't have any more in his deck, which was really fortunate. So I got them out of the way pretty early in the game, and he didn't save any, so that was fortunate for me. But he starts doing some energy swaps again, because I think he knows pretty much at this point that he's screwed, and he's got no way of being able to obviously switch out and being able to do any damage with the Xerneas on the playing field as well. But even if at this point he wakes up, which he does, it's not going to have any impact on me, and I just played the Stadium card just for the sake of it. I don't really think at this point it's going to play any role in this, but I use Unseen Claw to be able to do the 130 HP on him, and that is the Xerneas wiped out as well. And that takes me down to 2 cards, guys, and I pulled out a Silcoon, but again, didn't really have much impact at this moment in time, didn't need anything else, I don't believe, on this deck. And Sylveon comes out with the 60 HP still on him, so I needed to be doing at least 110 HP to be wiping out this EX card as well. But this is the part where, like I said, the Vespiquen comes in handy so much, and I don't think he's realised the position that he put himself in as well. Like, don't get me wrong, I didn't, but this is the part where I was just checking how many Pokemon I had in my discard pile. I was just double checking because I was trying to keep a number on it to see how much HP damage I would do with the Vespiquen, and I knew that I believe I had about 12, 13 Pokemon at the time in the discard pile. So I decided to treat with Sceptile and bring out my Vespiquen very shortly. But I was lucky enough again to pull out a Fight and Fury Bell. Again, not that it would have mattered at this time, but I just put it out just for the sake of anything did go wrong at this point. But yeah, as I said, I retreated Sceptile and brung out Vespiquen. Vespiquen is out on the field. Gonna use Be Revenge. And I didn't realise, to be honest with you, that I only had 2 cards left at this point afterwards. Taking out the Sylveon. And that was game over. And I honestly think that that was such a good bit of gameplay there, guys. And I was just so amazed by it myself that I managed to actually beat this fairy deck. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Like I said, I thought it an absolutely brilliant gameplay. And thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Take care. And as always, thank you for watching.
I spent the last 2 weeks just grinning.